February 2004. A cold, silent night in rural New Hampshire. Snow covered the narrow forest road, and nothing seemed out of place until a single crashed sedan appeared at the roadside. The front end was damaged, the airbag deployed, but the most disturbing detail was the empty driver's seat. No sign of blood, no sign of a struggle, just a trail of uneven footprints slowly fading into the darkness. As if someone had hurried away. Only a few minutes passed before police arrived, but in that short window, Maura Murray had vanished. It's clear she crashed here, yet no one knows why she left the car or where she went. There was no cell signal, no nearby houses, no way to call for help. Still, she disappeared without leaving a trace. An abandoned car, a freezing winter night, and a young woman who simply vanished. This case has remained one of America's most haunting mysteries. In the days leading up to her disappearance, something in Maura Murray's life had shifted. Friends in her university dorm noticed she was quieter than usual, lost in her thoughts. Late at night, Maura searched online for cabins and rental places in rural New Hampshire. No one knows why she suddenly became interested in that remote area. That same night, she made a brief and mysterious phone call. Whatever was said, it left her shaken. Witnesses say she cried softly afterward. The next day, Maura obtained academic leave from the university, gathered a few clothes and essentials, and left her dorm without telling anyone where she was going. She stepped into her car and drove off into the freezing February night, headed toward an unknown destination. These moments would become the last confirmed sighting of Maura alive. Maura Murray was driving north through the dark, snowy backroads. There was no cell signal, no traffic, and only the sound of wind moving through the trees. As she approached a sharp curve, her car slipped on the icy surface, spun out of control, and crashed into a snowbank. The airbag deployed, the headlights flickered, but when the scene settled, Maura was no longer inside the vehicle. A nearby homeowner heard the impact and looked out the window. Moments later, he stepped outside with a flashlight. The car was still running, headlights on, engine humming softly, but the driver's seat was empty. On the snow-covered ground, he noticed uneven footprints leading away from the road, straight toward the woods. It was clear Maura had walked away from the crash, but where was she going on that freezing night? Why did she leave the safety of her car? And how did she vanish without a trace in just a matter of minutes? The witness immediately called 911 after hearing the crash. He reported that the car was still running, its headlights glowing across the dark road. Police arrived within minutes, but in that short window, Maura Murray had already vanished. During the initial inspection, the officer found Maura's bag, snacks, maps, and even an opened box of wine inside the car. Nothing suggested a struggle or a forced escape. And yet, the footprints in the snow
officer, right here.
led only a short distance before fading completely. This became the first major mystery of the case. Where did Maura go? The witness insisted he saw signs that Maura had been there only minutes earlier. But despite these concerns, officers initially treated the situation as a simple drunk driving incident. They had no idea they were standing
Where did the trail
at
lead?
the center of one of America's most baffling disappearances. As more police units arrived at the crash site,
Yes,
the situation should have become clearer. But instead, the investigation took its first major misstep. Officers assumed Maura Murray was simply a drunk driver who fled the scene. They did not treat it as a potential missing person case. Because of that, the initial search was extremely limited. Officers scanned only a small stretch of road and a shallow section of the woods with flashlights. Even though the footprints ended abruptly in the snow, no deeper search was initiated. Volunteers joined the effort, but they received little direction. During those critical hours, Maura might still have been alive, disoriented, injured, or seeking help. But the delay in treating her disappearance seriously meant an entire night was lost. This mistake would become one of the most crucial turning points in the case. The morning after Maura vanished, a full-scale search operation finally began. Police units, firefighters, volunteers, and trained K-9 teams spread across the area. Once the dogs caught Maura's scent from an item of her clothing, they followed a trail leading away from the car. But only minutes later, they reached the point where the footprints ended. Eek, and the dogs suddenly lost the scent entirely. This was highly unusual. Search dogs can typically follow a person's trail for long distances, even through difficult terrain. But here, the trail simply stopped, as if Maura had disappeared into thin air. The team pushed deeper into the forest, sweeping every section with thermal cameras. Yet despite the massive effort, no trace of Maura was found. These results raised a chilling possibility. Did Maura leave the area on her own? Or did someone pick her up? Footprints do not vanish naturally. Something or someone had interrupted her path. Following Maura Murray's disappearance, several major theories emerged. Some believe Maura intentionally walked away from her life. She had been under emotional and academic stress, and many think she may have wanted to escape everything and start over somewhere far away. Another theory suggests she was picked up by a passing driver. The sudden ending of her footprints in the snow, combined with the dogs losing her scent, has led many to suspect that Maura entered another vehicle, willingly or unwillingly. A third possibility is that Maura wandered into the woods after the crash, disoriented or injured. In freezing temperatures, even a short walk could have become fatal. Others, however, argue she may have encountered someone dangerous along that dark road. Each theory holds pieces of the puzzle, but none have ever been proven. The truth about what happened to Maura remains as elusive as the night she vanished. There are three main theories that continue to dominate discussions about Maura Murray's disappearance. The first is that she left on her own. Some believe Maura was under emotional pressure and wanted a break from everything. Her online searches for cabins and her sudden leave from school seem to support this idea. The second theory is far darker, that she was picked up by a passing driver. The abrupt end of her footprints, combined with the dogs losing the trail, suggests the possibility that Maura entered another vehicle, willingly or not. The third theory argues that Maura wandered into the woods after the crash. Perhaps injured, confused, or in shock, she might have walked toward the forest and succumbed to the freezing temperatures before anyone could reach her. Each theory contains pieces of the truth, yet none of them fully explain what happened. The real story remains hidden, just like the path Maura took that night. One of the biggest challenges in the Maura Murray case is the conflicting evidence. The official timeline does not match the witness statements. Some witnesses claim they saw Maura standing by her crashed car, while others insist no one was there at all. These contradictions made it nearly impossible to reconstruct what truly happened. Police logs also raised questions. Early notes suggested Maura was an intoxicated driver who simply fled the scene. Yet no actual evidence supports that assumption. Thermal camera scans failed to detect any human presence in the forest. Still, tire tracks found on the roadside suggest another vehicle may have passed through shortly after the crash. Which witness was telling the truth? Why did officers draw such different conclusions? These inconsistencies left investigators and the public with more questions than answers.
If none of the evidence fits, what are we missing?
Years have passed, yet the mystery of Maura Murray's disappearance remains unsolved. Hundreds of pages of police reports exist, but none of them reveal where she went or why she vanished. Did she walk into the freezing woods and never return? Did a passing vehicle pick her up? Or was she trying to escape her life and start again somewhere far away? No theory has ever been proven, The footprints in the snow end abruptly, as if time itself stopped at that very spot. The evidence contradicts itself. The witness statements conflict, and the investigation contains more questions than answers. But one thing is certain: Maura vanished without a trace on that cold February night. Today, her family, investigators, and thousands of people still ask the same haunting question. Where is Maura Murray? Perhaps only time holds the truth.
What do you think really happened?